Hello, my name is Konstantin. Today I will tell you about the basics of JSight API language, and also I will tell you about our latest feature, which is conversion to OpenAPI. Let's open our online editor, which you can find on editor.jsight.io, and let's describe our API and see how it works. Before describing API, I will select on the right tab the OpenAPI tab. Now you see some very simple OpenAPI definition is already generated. Let's create something more interesting. First of all, you start with, first line is JSight 0.3, which is just current version. Then let's describe some type, because usually when you create API, you describe types. And our type we will name user. And here we come to the most first and most convenient, powerful things in JSight language. If you want to describe some schema, some data structure, first thing you have to do is just to provide an example of the correct data. So let's just provide some example of some user, and this user will be an object, and an object it will have some ID property of integer type and some name property of Konstantin is my name, of string type. And basically that's all. We just provided an example, but you see in OpenAPI panel the user component is fully described. We see that user must be an object. You see that it must have two properties, ID and name. They both are required, and ID has type integer and name has type string. And also you see examples of this: ID 123, name Konstantin. So you see just 4 lines of JSight equals to, I don't know, 10 or even more than 10 lines in OpenAPI language. But of course you can ask me, and what if we want to add some additional information to this data schema, which you cannot grasp from an example? That's a very right question. If you want to add something else, then you create so-called annotations. Let's, for example, say that our name property is optional, not required. Then we write annotation. Annotation, they look like comments in such kind of language like Java or C# or C++. So we create comment with 2 slashes, and then we put here a small object. And in this object we can describe so-called rules, which will define corresponding JSON element. For example, let's say that name is optional true. That's it. We see in OpenAPI panel that now only ID is required, name is optional. Also, let's say that, for example, maximum length of the name property is 255. That's it. We have an OpenAPI document also, maximum length 255. Let's add some other annotation, like ID cannot be negative, minimum is 0, and so on and so on. So we have defined our user type. Let's now create our endpoints, and here we come to the second very important and convenient feature of JSight. Is a very intuitive and straightforward way of defining your endpoints. If you want to define endpoint like get user, do like that. Write get / user / ID. Actually, that's it. You already have something generated in OpenAPI, but let's make it more, precise. Let's say that this endpoint will return 200 response, and in this response will be our user object. and we see in OpenAPI the path user ID is generated, and there is some ID parameter description, and there is get method inside and 200 response, and in schema you can see the reference to the user type, which was already defined before. Let's create other endpoints. Like let's make it users, get users, just get all users, and here we will return an array of users. Yeah, let's see, let's find it in OpenAPI /users get response 200. Yeah, type array, and items of this array are users. And let's add something with request, like post users, request user 200. Let it be let return like message, some message like user is created. Let's find it in OpenAPI. Users, yeah, users post request body user response 200, some object with some message property, which is some string. Let's finalize our work and add a title to our API. Users API. And let's also create another annotations with descriptions of our endpoints, like get a user by its ID, get all users, and create a user. That's it. I told you about two very powerful features of JSight. There is another one, third powerful feature, which is you can describe in the same document, you can describe not only in REST APIs, but also other types of APIs. For example, JSON RPC, but I will not show it today. I will show it in some later video. Let's check our OpenAPI document. Copy it. Let's open the standard OpenAPI editor on Swagger.io and put our code here. And yep, we see our API generated by Swagger using our OpenAPI definition. That's it. What I want to tell you also of course, you can see not OpenAPI result, but HTML documentation. And here you can find the documentation, and you can download this documentation in one single HTML document. Let's open it. Yep, something like that. You can, see types and a lot of different things. You have content, you have some settings, so a lot of different things here. And also you can share this document in the cloud. Just click share button and you see a link. Copy this link, and let's see. Yeah, you can send this link to your teammates and share it. That's it for today. Thank you for your attention. Now you know at least the very basics of JSight, and now you see how it is simple and convenient in usage. And if you like this video, please like it, because it helps us very much. And see you in our next videos. Bye bye.